Picture stepping into a cafe and ordering a traditional laksa, but instead of a bowl of spicy coconut broth, you are handed a bright neon green pastry that snaps open to reveal a massive, stretchy cheese pull. At $12 a pop, these hyper-aesthetic mashups are flying out the door. Economists call this little treat culture, a phenomenon where consumers, squeezed by a rising cost of living, pass on big-ticket purchases and instead reward themselves with accessible, daily micro-luxuries that look great on camera. But heritage food purists look at a cheese-stuffed neon green laksa croissant and see the erosion of centuries-old culinary traditions. To them, stripping a dish of its history and context just to make a viral video is the death of real cuisine. So, are these viral foods a genuine reflection of our modern melting pot culture, or are they cultural sacrilege engineered for clicks? To figure out where our plates are actually heading, we need to perform a sensory autopsy on the modern palate and map out exactly what is driving our cravings. The modern diner has completely reordered how they evaluate a meal. We have officially moved from a flavor-first dining culture to a texture-first dining culture. This demographic data visualization illustrates exactly what younger consumers are hunting for. You can see right here that 63% of Gen Z respondents heavily favor soft and chewy textures, while another 41% specifically seek out crispy experiences. The reason for this shift is entirely technological. You cannot taste a complex, slow-simmered broth through a smartphone screen, but a perfectly jiggly egg or a violently crunchy piece of fried chicken translates instantly to the viewer. Eating has morphed from a biological necessity into an interactive, multisensory fidget toy. The stretch, the crunch, and the jiggle provide immediate tactile feedback that looks spectacular online. In today's highly saturated market, a restaurant's financial survival often depends entirely on whether its food delivers that immediate, visual, tactile engagement. No ingredient illustrates this visual obsession better than matcha. That vivid, almost radioactive green hue is a cheat code for social media virality, making it the inescapable flavor and color of the decade. But that loud, modern aesthetic is a stark departure from its origins. In 16th century Japan, preparing matcha was a deeply mindful practice rooted in Zen Buddhism. It required complete silence, precise tooling, and a deliberate, meditative environment. Cultivating it is an incredibly disciplined agricultural process. Authentic matcha comes from specific geographic regions where tea plants are shade-grown for weeks, then meticulously hand-picked and stone-ground. The current global craze has pushed that fragile supply chain to the breaking point. With demand vastly outpacing what farmers can actually grow, the market is now flooded with lower-grade, heavily oxidized powders that cafes mask with massive amounts of artificial syrups and milks. When an ingredient is stripped of its mindful origins, altered chemically to be cheaper, and optimized entirely for its color, it stops being culinary innovation and crosses the line into cultural appropriation. There is, however, an antidote to this kind of mindless fusion. Back in Singapore, a culinary movement known as Mod Sin, or Modern Singaporean, is showing how to evolve a cuisine without losing its soul. Mod Sin does not rely on throwing viral ingredients into a bowl for shock value. Instead, chefs take deep-rooted local flavors and interpret them through highly refined, contemporary cooking techniques. This approach works because it builds directly on Singapore's historical reality. Long before the internet, the city was a melting pot, where outdoor food stalls naturally blended Chinese, Malay, Indian, and Eurasian cooking methods. Today's chefs are looking past vague Pan-Asian stereotypes and sourcing hyper-local ingredients. They are building complex dishes around specific regional plants, extracting the sharp citrus notes of ginger flower or the deep earthiness of jungle garlic. By doing this, they trigger specific cultural memories for the diner. Mod Sin proves that you can push the boundaries of modern gastronomy while still respecting the exact provenance of the ingredients on the plate. Looking at the entire landscape, framing the debate as a strict war between pure tradition and cultural sacrilege misses the bigger picture. Anthropologists suggest we should look at these messy, texture-heavy snacks as a gateway drug. For a younger generation, a brightly colored, overly sweet mashup is often the very first point of contact with an unfamiliar culture. As their palates mature, The teenager who started out drinking a sugary, strawberry-layered dirty matcha will eventually seek out the quiet, authentic tea ceremony or book a table at a Mod Sin restaurant to see what the real thing tastes like. This side-by-side comparison shows how you can apply this to your own daily habits. Ceremonial-grade matcha is made from the youngest leaves, costs more, and should be drunk pure with water. Culinary grade is made from older, more bitter leaves, costs less, and is exactly what you should use if you are mixing it with milk and sweeteners. You do not need to pay ceremonial prices for a sweet latte. Food is a living, evolving language. The next time a neon-colored, cheese-stuffed pastry pops up on your feed, look past the screen aesthetic. Ask yourself if the dish respects the roots it came from, or if it is just begging for likes.